All right, welcome back to the Music Income Challenge, and it's Mike from the Indie Band Alliance. And this time around, we're going to be talking about Publish underneath the Produce module. Our second half is Publish, and pardon me if I talk kind of fast, but I've got a lot to cover, and I really want to keep this video as short as possible so that you can stay focused and absorb everything that we're talking about. Okay, so let's get at it. Publish, we're going to talk about why you need to publish, what it involves, how to publish, and some different questions about, what if this happens, and some different action steps that you need to take prior to completing this week's training. Okay, so why publish? Basically, because you've got nothing until you can show it to someone else. Okay, and the saying that an imperfect plan violently executed today is better than the perfect plan executed next week, because no such thing as perfect, and next week is never going to come. So you just have to you know put something out there and go from there and get better as you go with experience, learning by doing. Publishing makes it real, right? When say everyone's got a book in them, right? Well, until somebody sees it, it doesn't really, it's just a figment of your imagination until somebody else other than yourself can actually see it, read it, comment on it. Like I just said, best way to learn is by doing. But the big reason a lot of people don't want to do this is because once we make it real, then we have that threat of rejection, because somebody could actually say, yeah, I heard your songs, wasn't overly impressed, didn't really like it. And we don't want that, do we? So this is often a point where musicians will stall themselves. They'll never get the album finished. They'll spend weeks in the studio trying to get the perfect sound that never happens and run out of money. All kinds of problems. So at the end of the day, if you don't publish something, you got nothing. So let's just get something published, right? Okay, so what is publishing? When I say publishing, specifically I'm going to talk about some online examples here. So these are sort of descending order of importance. So a social media post, big deal. Somebody, sees it or doesn't see it or retweets it or whatever. It's not really going to make or break your life on a single level. Blog post is a little bit more involved. Obviously, you got a little bit more committed, especially if it's a longer blog post. So people can leave some comments, but at the end of the day, you can delete them or edit them or whatever. So there's not a lot of risk there. Email publishing, well, once you start emailing people, there's a chance that people can flag you as spam, or they could unsubscribe, or they could reply to you with hate mail. So email becomes a little bit more at stake when you do an email squeeze page. Now, musicians tend to get a little bit squeamish here. Some of them don't like asking for emails. They feel like that's maybe beneath them. You have to actually make an offer on the squeeze page. So, the whole point of a squeeze page is you land on that page and you either take action or you leave. And so, if not many people take action or take you up on your offer, that's a form of rejection. So, people tend to not like doing that. Sales is obviously, again, to another extreme. A lot of musicians don't feel comfortable. I mean, a lot of people in general, they don't want to sell. I mean, selling has a very bad rap. Asking for money, people do not like that. So obviously publishing a sales page is going to be that next level of uncomfortableness for people. And then a live webinar is sort of the closest thing that you can have to a performance. I mean, I guess you could also call it a live performance online, like a streaming performance. It's sort of got the most at stake because, if you screw up, it's in real time. If you bail in the middle of it, then that's going to be your own reputation being harmed. So I'd say, in terms of publishing, a live webinar or live streaming performance is going to be probably the most pressure involved with publishing. And at the end of it, you have a recording, so it definitely could end up being a product or something that is published at the end of the performance. And in terms of music, well, you got an MP3, so that's, you know, relatively small level of commitment at this point in time. I mean, it could be, you know, a digital recording from just like one of those handheld digital recorders that costs less than $100 just from a live band practice, right? So that's a pretty low risk. When you go to the physical realm, whether it's print CD, print books, or whatever, tablature, obviously there's more costs involved, there's more upfront investment, there's more risk. Again, if you're not happy with the songs a week later, you're kind of stuck with them. So that's a little bit of a higher degree of risk involved there. And then obviously live performance, getting up in front of other human beings and singing, and with the fear of tripping or blowing your vocals or something, or missing your guitar solo, that's got a lot more weight attached to it. So, but these are all ways that you publish. This is, people can actually see or interact with the music, hear the music in these ways, and same thing with the online versions. These become more real and more important the farther down the ladders you go. So these are all things that are recommended for you to do to get your music out there in front of people. So how do you publish? Well, online you need to start with your domain name, and that's because you can't just do Facebook or whatever. You need to own this and have your own website, just so it's professional and you maintain control over what you're doing. Hosting, you're going to need hosting to put your pages and your website. You could build a website with WordPress. WordPress is probably just about the most single widest used platform. It's free and it's got tons of functionality, so it comes highly recommended. But I guess if you're technically challenged, it might be a little bit difficult for you. So I've got an alternative option here, which is Weebly. It's easy to use. It's got sort of a WYSIWYG drag and drop editor, and so you don't really need to know how to use code, but that does come in handy to know. It's out of the box, it's responsive, mobile friendly, it's got fast hosting. So the WordPress situation is awesome, but your WordPress website's only going to be as good as your hosting, and you're going to pay more for, if you get budget hosting, then you're going to have a slower website. So Weebly, for about the same money as some cheap hosting, you can get a Weebly site, lets you make as many pages as you want, and their hosting is quite fast, I'm told. I haven't actually done a speed test on it yet, but that's what I'm going to look into. And it's really affordable, so I believe it's less than $10. You can basically do all that. It's going to mean that you're going to have to set up the page yourself, but if you're just doing like a squeeze page and a thank you page, then that shouldn't be too hard and it shouldn't take you too long, even if you aren't really sure with what you're doing. And as far as web assets go, well, we're talking about social media. Obviously, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube. YouTube is probably the biggest one on that list. If I could only do one of them, it would be YouTube for musicians. Definitely something you want to have. So you want to have profiles on all these sites. You want to make it your own, customize them. You don't have to do it all right away. Just pick one, like maybe start with YouTube or Facebook if you do already have a following there. And that's going to be where you publish things like updates and send people back to your website or to your squeeze page. Music sites, Bandcamp and ReverbNation come to mind. So these are other places where you can have your music linked back to your website, get a little bit of an SEO boost, and just another way for people to find out about you. Okay, so that's how you publish. And what if? So people think, okay, well, what if it's not perfect? Well, it's never perfect. You have to aim for progress instead of perfection. And I really like this saying here, because even a broken clock is right 2 times a day. So publishing a squeeze page, It might not look awesome, but as long as it works and you can collect email addresses, get it up there. It's a start. Even if you don't have the best recordings in the world, you can't go to a world-class studio, get the best thing you can do today, get it up there, because it's better to have it up there than wait and never finish. What if I'm not a designer? Well, you can go to Fiverr, and there's also a site called I Help Musicians, and this is what it looks like. Sorry, that was the price. So there's a musician by the name of Scott James. He put the site together. I kind of know him casually, so he can build you a website. Squeeze page looks like this. You get all the artwork and stuff. So this is all that comes with it, and it costs $75, and you get free hosting for a year. So that's an option for you if you have no other choice in what to do. Okay, so basically, if you don't have money, you have to invest time and energy. And if you don't have time, you have to invest money. So you have to make that trade somewhere, okay? So invest in yourself. If you can't afford to pay, then maybe you need to learn how to do some coding and basic design work to make it happen. Okay, so to wrap this up for this week, your action steps are: don't wait till it's perfect. Get something up now. You have nothing to promote. If you have nothing published, then promote is the next module. Focus on the basics. Get your squeeze page with some basic graphics. Get your email list with a free MailChimp account. And get a thank you page with a simple page with some download files for the people who sign up for your list. And don't bother with anything else until you have a squeeze page published like this. Okay, so that's it for the publish module. Would love to hear your feedback, questions. Just let me know. Covered a lot of stuff. But once this is done, you're ready to start promoting and really making some progress. All right, so thanks for watching. Talk soon. Mike out.